we talked about a little bit. We talked a little about the Eagles here. Talking about the NFC. We'll stick with the NFC playoffs coming up. The Cowboys dominated the Indianapolis Colts in the fourth quarter, raising the question: who has a better chance at a Super Bowl? The Eagles, the Cowboys, the 49ers, etc. ESPN gives the Eagles this is from ESPN, 30% chance to make it to the Super Bowl. The Cowboys have a 50% chance of the Super Bowl, and the 49ers, even without a quarterback, they have them at 20%.
I would say that the Eagles have a better chance because if you're going to look at domination this past week, the Cowboys dominated a terrible Colts team, and
They
the
didn't
Eagles
dominate until like the last 10 minutes of that fourth quarter.
True, still dominated, embarrassed them, whooped them, whatever. So you have that, and then you have the Eagles who dominated what has been argued a good Titans team.
Yeah.
So if you're taking it off of this past week, I got the Eagles all the way. I mean, the run game looked solid, and mind you, the Titans have had one of the best run defenses in the entire league this entire season, and they only allowed 2 rushing TDs up until that Eagles game, and Miles Sanders and that entire Eagles team just ran all over them. So I would say that the Eagles have a better chance. No bias because I'm really good friends with somebody who's an Eagles fan. I don't know who that is.
Not me.
But not at all. But I'd say the Eagles have a better chance. 49ers.
No shot anymore. No shot.
Yeah, I can't see Brock Purdy really coming out there and
he throws a Purdy ball, but as my grandma would say, she likes to say Purdy. But I don't think he has that.
Yeah, I don't.
That's a lot to ask for him.
Yeah, I don't see unfortunately, the 49ers season's probably a wrap unless Jimmy G, because I saw something that said Jimmy G was going to be healthy enough to play in the playoffs if everything goes the way they think it is, because he doesn't need surgery now. But that's a long time for him to be out and then come back and be like, all right, I'm ready for the playoffs, and then play. But it is a really good team. They could pull it off. I just don't think Brock Purdy's the guy that's going to get them there where they need to be.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys and the Eagles and the Vikings are probably the top 3 teams in the NFC right now. Yes. No bias. I'm going to go with the Eagles because people have said, who have the Eagles played? Well, they just beat a 7-4 at the time Titans team, and they held Derrick Henry to 38 yards, I believe, 33, 38 yards, somewhere around there. Which, the addition of Ndamukong Suh, Linval Joseph, and then Jordan Davis coming back obviously helped. I think the Eagles have a better defense than the Cowboys. I think although the Cowboys technically have the number 1 offense in the league on paper, I think through eye test, I don't see it. Elliott and Pollard are a solid 1-2 combo. CeeDee Lamb is a solid receiver. Dak Prescott is an okay quarterback. I just don't see it as far as their defense. They don't really have anybody, in my opinion, outside of Trayvon Diggs. And when you go against teams, the Colts don't have any number 1 receivers. They don't. Michael Pittman, I will hold this till the day I die. Michael Pittman is not a true number 1. Alec Pierce is in his rookie year. He's shown out. Alec Pierce has played great. So the Colts fans, don't get me wrong, Michael Pittman's great. Alec Pierce is great. Both are not number 1 receivers.
No.
The Eagles, what the Eagles bring to the table is A.J. Brown, who is a true number 1. So you got Trayvon Diggs on him. And then you have Devontae Smith, who is a number 1 receiver on a couple of teams. And then you got Quez Watkins there in the slot, who is just insanely fast, runs a 4.2, 4.3. It's a mismatch for any nickel corner or linebacker. And then they get Dallas Goedert back in 2 weeks. And they get Avonte Maddox back, their slot, one of the best slot corners in the league. They get C.J. Gardner-Johnson back right before the playoffs. Ironically, he comes back against the Saints. So I think once the Eagles get healthy again, there's pretty much no stopping them. We've already beat the Vikings in prime time. And everyone's like, well, they beat them in prime time. But what do you think the wild card. Like, what do you think the playoff games are? It's all prime time. So,
Can you?
your mic is messing up. Just a heads up, Taylor. I heard a beeping.
I've lost audio. I've got nothing.
Go ahead and talk.
Give me 1 second to try and fix this.
Yeah, go ahead and fix it. While he fixes that, guys, this is a reminder that this is the booth with Taylor and Brandon. We're going to go right back into what we were discussing about the Cowboys, Eagles, and NFC playoff hopes once he gets it fixed out. Again, follow us on all social medias and stay tuned. I'm going to go back into what I was saying while he fixes his mic. I'll let him respond whenever he gets it fixed.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, he got it fixed. Look at that.
All
So, like I was saying with the Cowboys, what was I saying? The Eagles. I just think that they're getting healthy. They're going to be getting healthy at the right time, right before the playoffs. The defense, they have the top 2 corners in the league at the time. Right now, as far as statistics go, good pass rush, great offense, and if you're going tit for tat for players, and I think the Eagles got the edge. So, yes, I am an Eagles fan. Booth fans out there. So I'm not trying to be biased, but from a non-biased perspective, the Eagles got it.
Absolutely. I think the Eagles are the better team, especially when they're fully healthy. I think the Eagles are a substantially better team. No shade. I always hate on the Cowboys, but they're a good team this year. They've unfortunately, they're a really good team. But I think that the Eagles edged them out in every single aspect. I think they have a better quarterback. I think they have a better running back. I think Miles Sanders, when given the opportunities, is better than Pollard and Ezekiel. I think the Eagles have a better offensive line. I think they have a better defense. The run defense can be a little shady every once in a while. I have to fault them on that. That can definitely be improved. But overall, Eagles would take it. I think 8 times out of 10, the Eagles would win against the Cowboys.
And so, the Eagles are getting ready to play the Dallas Cowboys in the coming weeks. If the Eagles already locked their spot, like especially if they already locked the number 1 spot, by the time we play the Cowboys, Cowboys fans are like, "Oh, y'all beat us when we didn't have Dak. You guys beat us when we didn't have Dak. You guys are probably going to beat us when we don't have Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Dallas Goedert, Darius Slade, like half our team, because we're going to be benching them to let them.
And they're still going to, Cowboys fans are going to be like, "Oh, we beat the Eagles, number 1 Eagles, blah, blah, blah."
And James we didn't have Eagles, what happened?
XXX next. Yeah. Philadelphia, what happened?
Yeah. So I'm ready for it. I think it's going to be a good game. I think the Eagles, one key thing, even if we do play starters versus starters in this upcoming game, the Eagles' last game exposed Micah on a way of how to target Micah Parsons. And that's an RPO is just not to block him. Make him make a choice. Go for the running back or go for the quarterback. You got to make a choice somehow. And as great of a talent as Micah Parsons is, he struggled with that because we didn't really struggle, but you have to make a guess. Do you take Jalen Hurts or do you take Miles Sanders? If you take Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts can roll out, throw a pass, or he can take off and run. If you take Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders is beating you for 10 to 15 yards. That's all they did. Like, we didn't do anything special against the Cowboys the first game we played them. We just targeted Micah Parsons and made him make a choice. Don't let him control the game. You make him, you make it harder for him to control the game. So I think the Eagles will probably repeat that, and I think they take that dub. And I still think the Eagles are the best team in the NFC, just at this point.